Yes! Yes!
If there's a racing game series that defined the 2000s, it was the Burnout series. And man, I know Nostalgia Classes is kinda getting me, but I can't help it that I miss it. Just like the Midnight Club series, the Burnout games is one of those that I sink a lot of time into. The feeling of me going in blazing speeds while taking down the other drivers was the most fun and satisfying thing ever.
Yeah, baby!
In this video, I'll be going through the 3 Burnout games that I played and give some thoughts on what do I think about the series that stands the test of time, even though I haven't got time to try the first and second game of the series. Now about Burnout 3 Takedown. It's a racing game that did something completely different than the Need for Speed series. With no licensed cars, a lot of tracks across of USA, Europe, Asia, and a lot of modes to dive into, there's no doubt if I can say that it made something for everyone, since it's the most pure arcade that you can get in this game. After that, it continues on with Revenge and done a lot more, even though that it's different, with Burnout Paradise. Let's not also forget about the PSP games, mostly for me is Legends. But anyways, I'm not gonna ramble any longer. Let's talk about what makes the Burnout series so fun, starting with the gameplay. When it comes to the racing in Burnout, it's more about aggression and risk, because when you drive dangerously, you'll reward a boost, meaning the reckless you drive, the more you'll fill the meter. From going in near missing traffic, the ongoing lane, and long drifts can make the difference if you want to go even faster. However, if you want to fill up more chunk of the boost, the best thing you can do is take down other cars in order to amp the momentum a lot more. But if you got slammed by other cars or hit an obstacle by yourself, you'll lose a piece. Unless you slow time, steer your wrecked car, and hit the opponent for the aftertouch takedown.
Approved!
It's one of those things that I mentioned is why Burnout is adrenaline pumping and managed to intensify in the best way possible. There's also a lot of modes that you can do in the Burnout series, like race mode, which is the usual race to get bronze, silver, or gold medals. Eliminator mode, which if the racer gets last place, that car will explode and it will continue until one car is remaining. Face off, which is a one-on-one race against your opponent. Burning lap, which is basically time attack. And road rage, which is you versus all and you gotta take down as many cars as possible before the time runs out or your car gets damaged, which is insanely fun, I'll say.
How? Oh my god.
Exclusively in Revenge, there is a mode called traffic checking, which basically you smashing as many traffic cars to gain more points, and it's absolute chaos. But there's no way that I won't continue to talk about Burnout without mentioning the Crash mode, which is the bread and butter of the series as a whole. When it comes to the Crash mode, you gotta earn points by spreading as so much destruction on traffic as much as possible. Once you jump in a ramp or go right on the oncoming traffic, it will call for a chain reaction puzzle and will crash and burn on cars, trucks, buses, and more. In Burnout 3, it has some power-ups like bonus points, multiplying the final scores, and giving you extra crash breakers. Although power-ups were removed in Revenge, which is kinda a shame, but who knows. Speaking of that, once it has more enough carnage, it will activate a crash breaker, which basically a car explodes like a time bomber to amp up the chaos. Even though I haven't really gone into the mode that much, it's still the best part of the entire series, and it makes sense on why this mode makes Burnout, well, Burnout.
What?
However, Burnout Paradise have replaced Crash mode with Showtime mode, and it's kinda meh? I I don't know, it's a different version of Crash Mode, but kinda not for me. Finally, I can mention a little bit about the soundtrack. Now, I can't play those songs in this video because it will get me copyrighted, but every time I hear the soundtrack of those 3 games, it gets me really hooked and fits perfectly in the vibe of Burnout. By the way, the Burnout series has the most outrageous sound design that I've ever listened to, bar none. In fact, I can give you an example on how cars sounded very differently, including its boost. Which, by the way, about its boost, it sounded like a flamethrower, dude.
Man, this feels good.
Overall, these 3 Burnout games that I played have something in common, and I've been praising a lot because they're really fun racing games that I like to come back on. Wait, am I victim to nostalgia bait? Oh, crap. Now about those 3 games and where you can get. Burnout 3 is only available on 6th gen systems, that being the PS2 and the original Xbox, with backwards compatibility on the Xbox 360. The other being Revenge, which is available on not just the 6th gen systems, but on the 360 with an HD port. And it's also backwards compatible on the Xbox Series X and S. There is also the PSP games with Burnout Legends and Dominator. Legends being my favorite, by the way. And finally, there's Burnout Paradise, which is the easiest option since it got remastered back in 2018, meaning it's now available on 7th and 8th gen platforms. I have to say, aside from Burnout Crash and the DS games, it's been 17, soon to be 18 years since we've gotten a new Burnout game, and I kinda miss the series that made me wonder if there's ever gonna be a new Burnout game coming in the future. But I doubt that EA would do it since it got into a different time than before, and they focus more on the Need for Speed series nowadays. One fact about it, the dev team that made the Burnout series by the name of Criterion Games have made some Need for Speed games in the past. For instance, like Hot Pursuit 2010, Most Wanted 2012, and the recent Need for Speed game made by a different Criterion, I think, that being Need for Speed Unbound. With all that being said, I love the Burnout series despite of me missing the series after me playing those 3 games. I unfortunately doubt that we will get another Burnout game ever again since things in EA has gone in different times. But thankfully, former Burnout developers have formed 3 Fields Entertainment and have created the Dangerous series in the past, and now developing a new game with THQ Nordic to create Recreation. Overall, the Burnout series has come a long way since 2001, and it's a shame that EA have to let go of it in favor of something else. But I'm glad that I had to revisit back to Burnout even with a fresh mindset and still prove that Burnout is in the list of one of the best arcade racers. And well, if you could ask me, we gotta buckle up and get ready to drive as fast and aggressive as possible for one reason: absolute demolition of fun.